Hello everyone, my name is Jean Renee and I've been a beekeeper for about 12 years, and today I want to talk to you about a beehive that I think you would be really interested in, and it's called the Laynes Hive, and it's right here. And I'd like to encourage new beekeepers as well as experienced beekeepers to really take a good look at the features of this particular hive. It's one that's designed so that it mimics the environment that bees would find if they were in a tree hollow. It is a horizontal hive, and let's go take a look at it now, and I'll tell you some of the key features that really makes me interested in this hive, and I think is probably one of the best ways to keep bees. So let's check it out. Now here's something I want to make sure that you understand right off the get-go. Dr. Leo Sharashkin out of Missouri, USA, he's the real expert on these. So if you want to get some really good in-depth information about using this style of beehive, I highly recommend visiting his website, horizontalhive.com, and getting the book, it's called Keeping Bees with a Smile. So I highly recommend that book too. So if you were a beginner beekeeper, just starting off, if that was the only book you ever read, you'd probably be good for life, and I'm that serious about it. Now, I've been able to compare what I've been doing for years using the Langstroth style methods of the stackable hives, and in comparison, this is by far, hands down, one of the best ways to keep bees, especially if you're just a backyard beekeeper and you have no intentions of doing this as a full-blown operation. This is definitely something you want to look at. But let me tell you real quick, the horizontal hive, there's a lot of horizontal hives out there. And I didn't just, I've tried top bar hives, which by the way I really like. I think they're awesome, but these are actually better in my opinion. Now the key to really making these hives work is not so much the fact that they're horizontal, because there's a lot of different horizontal style hives out there, but it's the fact that it's deep. It's a very deep horizontal, and that's kind of the key to this whole hive working the way that it does. It enables the bees to build the brood nest in such a way that they can winter over. And then the surplus honey, any surplus honey gets stored towards the outside of the brood nest, and it makes it real easy for you as a beekeeper to get that extra honey without over harvesting from your bees. Now what I'd like to do is a hive inspection, and I want to show you how easy it is to harvest the extra honey that your bees are going to make in one of these Layens hives so that you don't accidentally over harvest from your bees. Just watch how easy it is. We're going to open it up, we're going to check the brood nest, and the nice thing is we don't have to tear it all apart. We can just make sure that the queen is laying, and then any honey that we see next to the brood nest is just an entire wall of honey. We can take that out, no problem. Let's check it out. In the editing room, I just want to give you a quick preview of what we're going to see as we continue this video. This diagram shows a Layens hive, and it has the same amount of frames that I've got in the one we're about to look at. And all you need to concern yourself with is the yellow indicates honey, and the tan indicates the brood nest. Now if you look on the far left, you see frames A and B. That's all honey, and that's exactly what we're going to see when we examine this hive. And the other frames that are tan with yellow at the top, that's the brood nest, and that's what the bees need. This is crucial for them to winter on. So we never harvest any of the honey that's mixed on those brood frames. And then the frames H, G, F, E, and then you see that the other ones are blank. That's exactly what we're going to see in this hive. But I wanted to give you this information before we go in there. That way I can kind of move through the video a little quicker and kind of cut to the chase and make it a little less boring and just more educational. So let's take a look now as the video continues. As you can see right here, this is one of the big draws to horizontal beekeeping, is that everything's all at your fingertips. There's no heavy lifting other than putting that box into place. That's the heavy lifting, but once it's there, you're done, and you can just easily move from left to right and examine your colony. I want to show you this. Look at this. That is just beautiful capped honey. Let me bring it in. That is nearly all capped. Just gorgeous. Now this is something I could take if I want to, but I'd rather them cap it off. Mostly capped. Mostly capped, a little bit uncapped on the one side. Let me show you close. They're about halfway down the frame. Not too many bees on it. Almost all of it's capped. Again, I'm looking for one that's fully capped. Now this one, I think we're going to bring in the house. All right, let's take a look here. I think we're going to take this one in the house and we're going to bottle this. This will probably be about a quart of honey. And isn't that easy? You don't have to harvest it all. You can just harvest a frame at a time if you want to, and that's what a lot of backyard beekeepers would be happy doing. You notice the honey banding around the top and sides and the brood nest in the middle. And they'll have multiple frames. So far I think I've counted 4 or 5 like this. So the brood nest is probably about 6 or 7 frames just like this. And this is the honey we don't harvest that's on these frames. We just leave it for the bees and that's what they winter on. Alright, we're going to take that in the house. We're going to take 2 of the frames in the house. So again, this one, full frame of honey. We're going to bring that in. We're going to leave the other full frame that they had. We're just going to brush these bees off. Now let's take a look with GoPro vision in my second Layens hive. Let's take a look inside our famous 39-pound swarm trap takedown. See how they're doing. Again, we're going to... We might even have some brood on this frame. Let's have a look. It's heavy, boy. Oh, yeah, it's heavy. This is probably just honey. Yep. This is all surplus honey. And it looks like a piece of that comb collapse went down on that one too. Alright. I'll pop that off. Watch out, guys. I want to set this down. So they're capping all this. This is great. They're starting to form that. Let's take away this piece that collapsed. If we can get that out of there. Wow. I have to say they did a really good job packing the honey away. It's all honey, guys. This is every bit honey. Look at this honey. They're working on capping it. They're capping it at the top. All capped and then uncapped towards the bottom. Boy, they're doing a good job since April 20th. So, alright, now we're going to probably see some brood on this one. Not yet. Not yet. They're capping. This is another honey frame. They might be putting some brood towards the bottom here. I don't see any eggs in these cells. And we've got the brood nest built up on this side over here. So let's see, 20 frames altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that were not touched. So they're only working 14 frames total. I don't expect they're going to touch any more frames this year. I need to put my fingers here, guys. Let me get my fingers there, okay? I don't think we're going to see any more buildup. What they'll probably do, though, is they'll probably cap off everything that we looked at that was still open honey. They'll cap that off. All right, much lighter frame now. This is going to be a brood frame. Let's take a look and see. This is what they're going to cluster on in the winter. Okay. All right, now we've got some capped brood. We've got some open brood. And we do have eggs towards the bottom. Boy, look how calm they are. You pick the right time of day and they'll treat you good. And they're still chaining at the bottom, so they might just finish this out. You see how they're chaining up at the bottom? They might be drawing the rest of the comb right down to the bottom of the frame. But this is the brood nest, and the honey band is at the top. Let me come here with the camera. The honey band is across the top. This is honey that the beekeeper does not harvest. This is what the bees survive on in the winter. So if you find a frame like this, just put it back. Keep the brood nest all together. Oh, and there's our queen bee. I'm going to move this back in. They look really good. I'm very happy with how this one is progressing. Now this one has an eco floor, which means that I used an extra 3 or 4 inches of empty space below the entrance and below all the frames. And I filled it with peat moss to wick moisture and to give them an environment more like what would be found in a tree hollow. That's as far as I'm going to go. I don't really have a need to harvest their honey. I don't think I've got any frame. I got one frame that I got to put away. All right, I'm not going to take any of their honey. I already took 2 from the other colony, and that's plenty for me. I think what I am going to do, though, I'm going to scrape the honey off my knife, give it back to the bees right here. They'll clean that up. You don't have to worry about cleaning it. They'll do it themselves. Let's shake these bees off here. There we go. Not too bad. Give these last little ones a bump here. Okay. This is one of the cartoons taken from Keeping Bees with a Smile, and if you look on the left, industrial beekeeping using Langstroth equipment, not that I want to knock it because I still use it. It has a place for me in my apiary, and it may have that for you as well, but there's a lot more to keep up with, and the learning curve, it takes longer to go through. So if you want something that's just easy on the mind, easy on the back, go with the Layens style hive. I at least make one. Make one in your apiary and try comparing it between that and the Langstroth hive. I think you'll probably enjoy using the Layens. So let's go ahead and look at our honey harvest next. I'll show you how I just do a crush and strain from the honey we harvested. Okay, so that's all we're doing is just mashing this up. If I had to guess, we'll probably get 2 quarts out of this. We'll see once it all drains through. Now I'll leave these out for the bees to clean up. They'll clean those frames for me, but let's just go ahead and get all this honey mashed up. Crush and strain, that's all we're doing. And it's a nice warm day. Boy, this honey will go through there in a couple hours probably. Let's see what we already have. Look at that. Okay, it's looking good. Let's
Everything's working good. This is a nice strainer for this. It's perfect for the job. Alright, I think everything's crushed pretty good. Now what I'd like to do is just go ahead and put a plastic garbage bag over it so that the bees don't get in it, because the bees are going to find this. It won't take them long, and they're going to tell everybody in the colony to come get it with them, and they'll all be sticking to it, and a lot of them will die, and we don't need any of that happening here. So we're going to cover it with a plastic garbage bag, clean one of course. So let's zoom back out, and we'll put the garbage bag on there. Alright, we're done. We're just going to leave that in there for a while. There it is. We'll just leave that in that bag for a while, maybe an hour or two. The bees can come clean off these frames for us. Right here. The bees will clean the frames and the knife. That's okay, we'll let them clean that up. We got a couple honey drips on the floor, and they'll get everything for us. We shouldn't have to clean anything. So that's how we're going to harvest our honey. Alright, there's our harvest. 6 pints plus a couple little jars. And there's the cleanup crew right here, still working. They're cleaning everything up, so all the honey that I couldn't get, they're going to put back in the hive for me. I'll get it next time. These are all the wax comb that was crushed up. They'll get every little bit of honey out of there. I'm cleaning off my strainer. I cleaned the knife already, and the frames are pretty clean. And then there's the kettle. I just put that on there, starting to get that too. Well, friends, there you have it. There's really not that much more to it. I mean, I did harvest honey today when I probably could have waited until the fall. So I will have to keep an eye on that colony, but I think they're going to do just fine based on the amount of honey we saw. But, you know, if you really want to enjoy beekeeping, just use local bees. They've already adapted to the environment in your area. You're going to have the best success with that. So that's foundation. So if you can catch a swarm, that'd be great. Use the well-insulated, deep horizontal hives. That's the key to horizontal hive success. They have to be deep enough for that brood chamber to really build up enough honey stores around the brood nest. And then just let the bees do their thing and keep it low maintenance, and you're going to have a blast. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I just want to show you a couple of pictures. I was tooling around YouTube, and I was looking at how beekeepers are keeping their bees in other countries, and I came across some videos from West Africa, and I also found one from Kyrgyzstan. You notice they're using horizontal hives. Now, I think these might be called Layens hives. I'm pretty sure that's what they are, but they're very similar to the Layens design. I just thought it was interesting. You might be able to check some of these videos out for yourself. Here's a few more pictures from old-time beekeepers. A.E. Manham. I don't think these are horizontal hives, but the gabled roofs kind of remind me of it. I think they're kind of a cross. It might be called a Bristol hive. But it's really cool just to see the history of beekeeping and how people are doing it successfully in other ways. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to reach out by email. You can reach me at enjoybeekeeping@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.